What's going on today, guys? All right, so today I want to talk about 5 of my top plants right now and why they're winning. I'm gonna give you the reasons why I made the list, from care to growth journey and everything far and in between. Let's get into it. Number 1, this is my Pothos Marble Queen. All right, so let's talk about this plant here. This is a very, very easygoing plant. You can find these plants in just about any store. If you're looking at the growth rate of this plant, it's going to be based on what lighting that you give into it, which should be a bright indirect light. It's going to be based on if you're feeding your plant, fertilizing your plant. All these things help your plant grow. But if you was doing none of that type of stuff to your plant and was only giving it water and mediocre light, it will still do pretty good. Will it be thriving? That's to be debated on. But will it still be living? Yes. This is one of my favorites because it's truly just an eye catcher. When you first walk into this room, it's like this is like the first plant that you see. This plant has had mealy bugs 2 times and have bounced back. It's almost time for a repotting. I hate doing that because it almost seems like my plants go dormant for like 2 or 3 months before it starts growing again. This is probably a good time to do this though, since it is over the summertime or about to get into the summertime. But price wise, this plant, we're looking at anywhere between 20 to 30 bucks when you coming at with this. And here we have the Filidendrum Moonlight. Now this plant right here, leaf is already a little broke right here. And it's just, you can still see my face. All right, so the Filidendrum Moonlight, this right here has probably been my top 5 plant ever since I've had it. I did not buy this plant little. I did buy it fairly large. It kind of was about maybe 2/3 this size. This is a very easygoing plant. It did get sick one time with thrips. Gave it a quick treatment. Everything's been good and we've been growing good ever since. I bought this plant, I want to say for like $34, maybe $40, if that. So it was a good size, good price. It always deliver. I mean, it's an eye catcher as well. When you walk into the room, especially when you see that light green starting to come in on the leaves, it's definitely just attention grabbing. Very low maintenance. Yeah, definitely. Next is going to be my Filidendrum Green Congo. This plant just keeps me full of surprises. Every time I think like, hey, okay, this plant is beautiful, I'm good with it, and start to move on and start looking at other plants in the mire, this plant still every week just seems to do something that just makes me pay attention to it a little bit more. It is a very, very easygoing plant as well. Bright indirect light. I put mine on the grow light. I even use a self-watering container just to be able to keep up with the water needs. Because, you know, when you're dealing with variegated plants, I believe that when they do dry out, that it does affect their colors in it. You can get like a dark leaf plant and it accidentally dries out. You revive it back, you're good. Nobody never knows it happened. But I noticed that if it was something like a Marble Queen Pothos or something like that, and it goes out, the white parts start browning off, and you can really just tell that the plant just isn't doing its best. This is a plant that I've had for a while that has been working with me, has been patient before I put it in here, and I definitely would recommend this plant to somebody. This is going to be more on the higher end as far as plants. I bought mine on an online auction. I believe I paid either $65 or $75 for it. It's because when I get on the option, sometimes I buy a $5 or $10 plant too, so those get thrown in. So sometimes the prices I forget. I just know the subtotal. I remember the bill when it was all done was $105 when I bought this plant that time. So I don't know what else I got, but this was one of the purchases, of course. This isn't a plant that you're going to see just in a store when you go in there. This is a specific plant that you're going to either find in a local nursery, which I didn't, or of course online. This plant does prefer a nice chunky mix, as in with most of my plants. So the Filidendrum Green Congo. Isn't she beautiful? This right here is a Filidendrum majestic. And I mean, I'm gonna turn it so you can kind of see the leaves in the back. I mean, the back of this plant looks just as good as the front. I mean, you just can't go wrong with this plant here. I purchased this plant from a local from one of my favorite nurseries. I'll put that out there, one of my favorite. I paid $65, I want to say, for this plant. It's a philodendron. And again, when you go into your local nurseries, most of the time they are overpriced or marked up because, I mean, hey, you don't really want to get plants like this imported in because there's always a 50-50 chance. Yes, you could save so much money, but you also deal with a lot of times you got to send that plant back because it'll arrive dead. And you're definitely not getting that in this big packaged up and getting shipped and it's arriving in good condition. If so, your sellers are really legit. But in reality, a lot of times that doesn't happen. So when I see people order plants like this, at least that might not be this big or into soil, and it's just like a cutting, I notice that their leaves and stuff are yellow, or they might get one node that's good to go, but the leaf and the stem is kind of broke. So expect to pay a high price for this if you do see this locally. But if you was to buy this online, you can get them for like $20, $25 off of Etsy. And of course, it's going to be a smaller plant, but hey, that's somewhere to go. And if it's a smaller plant, they usually ship pretty good and just acclimate pretty well. I was a little worried about this plant acclimating because when I did buy it, it was a little big. It was nowhere near this size. I mean, this plant was just on, y'all remember we went to the store and this was one of the plants that I snuck in. Remember, it was just on this first, let me pick this up. Remember, it was just on this first little moss pole right here. It wasn't on here, and I got to put another one on here. So the plant is loving it. Loving that bright indirect light. Loving, I guess, just the location where it's at. It gets a little bit of grow light from right here, and it also gets some grow light from this one right here. So not too close, but just enough to keep it happy. I got to go ahead and attach it on here or it's not going to be happy. Number 5, this should come to no surprise to you. My Monstera Thai constellation. I just love this plant. And I love the fact that I only paid $20 for this plant. Yeah. Guys, I was going to put it down, but you might not be able to see it. I do have a new shoot coming in right here. They have been doing really well in the self-watering container. I'm going to be nervous or get scared when it's time for them to come out and I got to repot. That's going to suck. However, this plant does not disappoint. Now with the prices coming down, they're affordable. So I definitely recommend them to people. I still say that if you want to learn and not lose a lot of money, unless you can find them for like 15, 20 bucks, definitely get the Monstera Deliciosa, which is just like the OG, and learn from that because, I mean, you can basically, I'm not going to say they're giving those plants away, but you can get them anywhere between $5 to $15. And of course, the bigger you go, the more you pay. But you can get those plants and learn from them. Monsteras are a little bit more work than the previous plants that I showed you of the pothos and the philodendrums because they do like to retain their moisture, which if you are a person who struggle with watering, that could be a problem. Or if you're a person that has a lot of plants like me, it could be a problem if you don't understand the care needs for this. Because most of the time you see people put their Monsteras in like a chunky mix. Nothing is wrong with doing that. However, that little bit of extra moisture they need because when they dry out, their leaves crust and they do not come back from that. So usually it'll be a very brown part. And when you're dealing with these plants like a Monstera, constellation, they have this cream right here, so that turns brown. And I'm not talking about nobody's plant, but I don't want to see a brown Monstera constellation, you know what I mean? So the only way a sure thing is usually 2 things to keep this this color. 1 is going to be your water, and 2, pest prevention. Now pests will get in here and tear this all the way up too. So yeah, so guys, as an added bonus, I want to throw this in. You all remember when we cut back that cissus discolor? Well, one of them didn't make it. The other one did make it. And it was the one that I did not put the extra stuff in too. So she's on her way back. She seems to be enjoying the self-watering container. I keep her over here, and she does have a nice little light that comes on for about 8 hours a day. Not in the greenhouse. She still does look a little bit weird, and I'm just shocked that she's coming back. So yeah, I just wanted to update you on that. But everything else though, guys, with my top 5 plants, hopefully you found the video to be informative. If you did, make sure you like it, put me a comment down there, subscribe if you haven't already. And guys, share my stuff, get me out there. As always, y'all take care.